These are Raffi's words. Some months ago, I came across Terry Tempest Williams' work. Her words continue to touch parts of me that feel lonely at times, though these words were an expression of her own feelings and healing journey of cancer. They continue to speak to me. I feel like they're pretty relevant to life for many, whether it was cancer, chronic illness, or just the challenges of life. May we listen to the songbirds as a reminder that this life is to be celebrated. I want to feel both the beauty and the pain of the age we are living in. I want to survive my life without becoming numb. I want to speak to comprehend words of sounding without having these words become the landscape of where I dwell. I want to possess a light touch that can elevate darkness to the realm of stars. This vascular malformation could bleed and burst, or I can simply go on living, appreciating my condition as a vulnerable human being in a vulnerable world, guided by the songs of birds. What is time, sacred time, but the acceleration of consciousness? There are so many ways to change the sentences we have been given. Once upon a time, when women were birds, there was the simple understanding that to sing at dawn and to sing at dusk was to heal the world through joy. The birds still remember when we have what we have forgotten, that the world is meant to be celebrated. Terry Tempest Williams, When Women Were Birds. It's cancer, they said. That won't work, they said. You need to move fast, they said. You'll be on hospice, they said. No more options, they said. They said so much, everything except what he said. What did he say? On this cancer journey, looking back before I was diagnosed, I realized that I never really allowed myself to be loved fully. I know that sounds cliche or whatever, this whole love age seems so surface until you're so in the depths of a painful situation that you realize, shit, it's me. I'm learning. I'm still learning how to allow my husband to love me. God, that sounds insane, doesn't it? I'm still learning how to allow my husband to love me, to let all my walls down, how to not push him away when he just wants to be there. Last night, my pain meds lapsed while I was asleep, and I woke up with shooting pains. He woke up while I was in the shower trying to find relief at 2 a.m. He checked on me, but I figured he would go back downstairs to deal with our Pyrenees puppy, Lulu. He usually does, to stop her whining. He didn't. I got into bed waiting for the meds to kick in, breathing through the pain and throbbing. I was so focused on breathing that I assumed he already went downstairs. He didn't. I told him he could go and that I would be okay, and then I was just waiting for the meds to kick in. He didn't. He laid next to me, legs hanging off the bed, and said, "I'll wait for them to kick in too." As I fell asleep, I remembered thinking, "Let him love you." You know, reading her words is like talking to her again. My wife, man, Raffi was, gosh, she was amazing. The love that came out of that woman was something to be studied. The joy that just burst forth from her was unbelievable. And to think that this cancer season that she endured is 1,592 days from her diagnosis to the day she passed, and she showed up as such a loving wife, such a loving mother, such a joyful partner and mom and friend. You just couldn't contain it. All that pain. And she's a person that had two kids, no drugs, enduring pain that I never even imagined was possible. And to be attacked in such a way, a woman that prides herself so much on her motherhood and on who she is and being a woman, and to have her her reproductive system attacked with tumors, is just, the cruelty is far beyond what I ever thought life would contain. And still, the posture she carried herself with was is something to be studied. I couldn't, after she passed, we had this dream of writing a book together, and I couldn't let this story go untold. I couldn't let this all of this woman, how magnificent she was, even in this season where the horizontal world was trying to take her out. I'm very literally, she found a way through, and it wasn't horizontal, it was vertical, and it was beautiful. And she, it didn't make any sense how she was existing in the world with all the pain she was going through. And I couldn't help but write about it. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I feel so blessed to have called her my wife and the mother of my children and started a family with her. And she just, she chose to not let this thing define her. Yes, this lens is this cancer lens tragedy, but I'm telling you, she lived with such love and such joy that many times people didn't even know what she was going through, and it was just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like I said, she battled stage 4 cancer for nearly 5 years. On 12/12/24, we lost her about a year and a half ago, right now, depending on when you see this video. And it seems to be tragedy, but I will tell you that it is not. I've seen her spirit, I've seen her love carry on through our book, through her words. People still meet her. People still say they feel like she's their friend. She's still speaking about her life and her experience through our book, and that has been just the most beautiful journey. So in 2021, we had the thought we wanted to write a book, and we were very different people, both very hard headed, both very strong willed, but we wanted to write a book together, and from our two perspectives, and it just never came to be. Now, we did each write. She was writing during her whole experience. I was writing during my whole experience. It was just never together. Today, our book, Thank You Cancer, is both of our words together telling our story. And my wife never got to see the book. We always talked about it, we just never got there. After she passed, I was just trying to remain sane, just trying to find something to hold on to. And I knew writing was a way that I could do that. So I started writing just about what I was feeling, what was going on inside. And in that process, I remembered that we wanted to write a book. And if you ever lost someone, you know the search, and you search for things. You search for notes they might have written to you, just anything to hear their voice, to hear them in your world. And I was searching and searching through things, and I started to find a bunch of her entries. And as I was finding them, I was realizing that maybe this book could actually take shape. Maybe I could still check this thing off the list that we had as this goal that just went away. Because when you lose your person, everything you wanted to do with them just dies with them because they're not here anymore. You can't do that. But in this case, I was able to find a ton of her writings. So I took those and I dropped those into a timeline, and I was able to find my writings, and I took those and I dropped them into the same timeline. And what I had was us telling our story. And there were some places I had to fill in as a narrator, but overall it was my voice, it was her voice telling the story we always wanted to tell. And it was reaching back in and crossing this thing off the list that we always wanted to do together. And I got to tell you that has been one of the most beautiful things that I've ever experienced. There was, I wanted to read you a couple other parts here. Um, there's this one chapter 41. These are Raffi's words, and it's entitled "She Loved Denim." I wanted to tell you all about week 1 of healing in Arizona. But first, I needed to share a picture of myself wearing jeans. You might ask yourself, what's so important about a picture of Raffi wearing jeans? Well, it's been over a year, like way over a year, since I've been able to wear jeans. I could not even wear my baggy jeans. Monday after chemo, I found a pair of jeans that fit. Today, after my 2 days of deep rest and at least 24 hours of sweet, sweet sleep, I put on said denim beauties, put on my pink happy shirt, and rode off to receive my IVs. Today is a big day. I can't wait to share more stories I've experienced. I will share some clinical stuff, but it's the people here alongside the medical plans that get you. And if you look, there's a picture of Raph right there wearing those jeans. There is a place outside of Scottsdale called the Salt River. And we went there a lot with the girls. And there are wild Mustangs down there. We got to see them a bunch. And Raffi wrote these words: "Take me to the river, drop me in the water. Wild Mustangs, wash hair in river, made it through long drive in all of my surroundings, together with family plus mother. This is hard, but life is absolutely beautiful." And I want to tell you that reading this book that we wrote together, there's just, it's like talking to her again. And it's been one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. And, you know, this book, this channel, the reason that I'm here is built on my life. It's built on this season that we didn't think we were going to survive. It was the horizontal world trying to crush us. And I'll tell you that it didn't do anything to our love. It may have taken our body, but it didn't take our love. And we found a way through a season that, I wouldn't believe this story if I hadn't lived it. And I would tell you that if you aren't familiar with our story, our book is called Thank You Cancer. And I would read it. It is unbelievable. It is the most remarkable thing I could ever imagine. There was things that have happened in our story that just still blow my mind. They feel like a movie. But this channel, the storms that I talk about, the struggles that I talk about, the pain that I talk about, aren't just ideas, it's lived. After I wrote this book and I was hearing from people, I started to realize that not everyone was having the transformation that Raffi and I had in this season. And I wanted, the coach in me wanted to find a way to give that to people. And so I set out to write another book because it was on my heart. And I did that. And so Thank You Cancer is the first book of what's going to be a trilogy. The second book has come along now, and it's called The Thank You Bridge. And it is the framework that I built in reverse. I went and I looked at our story and found the things that we did to make this transformation, the horizontal to vertical shift. And those things tracked right back through scripture. And that's amazing. And there's so many beautiful things. And it's a beautiful framework that doesn't just apply to me or Raffi. It applies to all of us. It applies to all of us in our struggles and our journeys here. And I'm so excited to bring that to you and walk you through that and explain that to you in hopes that if you find yourself in a season like this, a season of struggle, a season where you seem to have lost your way, this will help you. It really will. This book, Thank You Cancer, this one that Raffi and I wrote together, received an International Impact Book Award. And I got to go up on stage and receive an award and speak to hundreds of people and on a book that, never should have happened. But I was able to pull it together because we chose to write, and I was able to write it with my wife and check it off. And I could tell you that experience and was one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. And I wouldn't, there's so much tragedy in life, but there's beauty. There really is. And there's light from the darkness. And one of the things that Raffi and I wanted to do was bring light from all this darkness. And this is what this is about. This is what these both of these books are about, and what the third book will be about. And this is why I sit here talking to you, because the pain that we all feel, the struggle that we all have, the suffering that we all have, is something that unites us. It is not something that makes you alone. It feels like you're alone in your pain, but you're not. It unites us. That night, receiving that award was one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever received. And we're up for Authors of the Year this year, in 2026, if anyone sees this video. And that's another amazing thing to think that we could be Authors of the Year together. It's just surreal. I wanted to give you a background on why I'm here, what this is about. It is about my life. It is about lived experience. These are things I know, things I've been through. Next week, we're going to talk about Descent into the Depths, the first of the 7 steps. I wanted you to know where this came from. This book. Thank You, Cancer. If you haven't read this book, read the book. It is the foundation all this is built on. It is the proof of concept of this whole thing. The thank you bridge is the framework that came of it in looking back. When you're going through a storm forward, you can't see where you're going all the time. But in looking back, things start to make sense. About a year after Raph passed, after Thank You, Cancer came out, I started to see a pattern that's been happening my whole life. It took me 44 years to see it and a lot of pain. I hope to give that to you in this book, in these videos, the perspective before the punch, as I say. So a few things. Thank You, Cancer. If you haven't read it, go read it. If you have not taken the quiz, there's a quiz that can be your compass in this season. It's at thesignificancescore.com. You can go there. You can take the quiz. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so excited to talk to you next time. Thank you for going on this journey with me.